Good evening, I'm Ces Orenia Drilon.
And I'm Pauline Verzosa.
The big stories tonight. At The Hague, ICC prosecutors cast doubt on the defense's claim former President Rodrigo Duterte is not fit to stand pre-trial. They are sending in their own experts to check on Digong's real health status.
And back here at home, the legal woes of the so-called BGC boys are still piling up, with 2 about to be fired from government service, while the rest are looking at more criminal and administrative charges.
And the outrage over alleged corruption in government projects spills out of social media and slowly into the streets. Pocket protests have erupted in the lead-up to what's expected to be more mass actions.
But for an 80-year-old, he is pretty strong.
Mental state, maaari itong masolusyonan. Exaggerated itong mga sinasabi ni Atty. Kaufman. Wala bang GC ang pamilya at ang legal team? Bakit hindi sila magkakatugma ng sinasabi?
Former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte's lawyer has asked the International Criminal Court to indefinitely suspend all legal proceedings against him, citing his deteriorating health. Lead counsel Nicholas Kaufman says Duterte is now unable to recall events and even family members.
But ICC prosecutors are not buying this latest attempt by the defense to delay the proceedings further. Mobile journalist Merimon Reyes has tonight's big story.
ICC prosecutors were quick on the draw when it comes to the defense team's every move since former President Rodrigo Duterte was arrested and detained in The Hague. Recently, lawyers of Digong asked the International Criminal Court to suspend all legal proceedings against their client. That's following the ICC's ruling on Monday to temporarily postpone the former president's confirmation of charges hearing originally set for September 23. The defense further requested for an indefinite adjournment on the grounds that the 80-year-old Duterte is not fit to stand trial. Lead counsel Nicholas Kaufman claimed Duterte has cognitive impairment and can no longer recall events, locations, dates, or even members of his immediate family. In their petition, Kaufman further stated that his client is now unable to understand the nature of his charges and cannot comprehend anymore the reason for his detention. All this, according to Kaufman, has hindered their preparation for Duterte's defense. The lawyer added that at this point, Duterte's condition is irreversible. During her last visit to The Hague on September 1st, Vice President Sara Duterte did not give an update on her father's condition, except that he was still alive. But before that, she said Digong is fine overall.
Ni-remind kami ng detention unit na merong kailangan sundin na mga conditions sa visit. No? So from now on, bawal ikwento kung ano yung mga nangyari sa loob at ano yung mga pinag-usapan sa loob. I can only say na, President Duterte is still alive.
Just this Tuesday in the Netherlands, Kitty Duterte gave this update on her father's condition.
He's 80, ma'am. Of course, pag 80 ka, you have like ailments, a lot of ailments, no? Sakit yung likod, may diabetes. So, I think it's yung mga normal ailments for an 80-year-old, hindi naman yung something that we have to really worry about. But for an 80-year-old, he is pretty strong.
The contradiction in Kaufman's and family members' statements is just one reason why Attorney Cristina Conti is questioning Digong's real health status. Conti sees it as another move to further delay the proceedings against Duterte.
Tingin namin exaggerated itong mga sinasabi ni Atty. Kaufman. Nagtatanong sila, bakit wala bang GC ang pamilya at ang legal team? Bakit hindi sila magkakatugma ng sinasabi? Mental state, maaari itong masolusyonan. Kaya, tingin namin malabo ang archiving or indefinite postponement ng kasong ito.
Conti went on to say that the complainants against Duterte should move to reject the petition. Conti also called for independent experts to look into his condition. And that's exactly what the prosecution plans to do. In asking the court to reject the bid to indefinitely suspend pre-trial proceedings, prosecutors made it very clear that they are not buying the defense's explanation of Duterte's health status. The prosecution adds that it is, quote, in the process of engaging its own experts to assist in determining Mr. Duterte's fitness to participate in the pre-trial proceedings and to stand trial. Also in their redacted petition, the prosecution said that while a short adjournment might be warranted, the proceedings should not be delayed indefinitely. They are also asking the court to immediately rule on Duterte's fitness to allow a confirmation of charges hearing within the year. Mobile journalist Mary Reyes, we are One News.
Let's now get the insights of an ICC-accredited lawyer on this. And joining us via Zoom is Attorney Gilbert Andres. Good evening and welcome to The Big Story, Attorney.
Good evening, Cesar. Good evening also.
So what remedies can the defense, rather the prosecution, avail of? Because this seems like an attempt by the defense to really not hold trial at all.
All right, Cesar, the defense is making a factual allegation. Therefore, the prosecution has actually asked that it be given the opportunity to present its own expert who will medically determine Mr. Duterte's fitness for trial. Also, the prosecution also intimated that the pre-trial chamber can even appoint its own expert to determine the fitness for trial of Mr. Duterte.
And how soon can this happen?
Well, it should happen in a reasonable period of time. In fact, in the decision of the pre-trial chamber, it did not agree with the indefinite adjournment asked by the defense. And the pre-trial chamber emphasized that this is only a limited period of postponement just to determine the fitness of Mr. Duterte. So my own personal opinion, this should not take years. It should only take months. In fact, the prosecution said that the confirmation of charges should be within the year 2025.
Well, Attorney Nicholas Kaufman did say that Mr. Duterte is suffering cognitive impairment. He now doesn't remember events and even his family members. But how does the ICC typically validate medical issues? Is there a way to fake these tests? Kasi pwede mo namang sabihin, diba? Hindi ko maalala, I don't remember. I mean, how do they validate that?
That's why it's also important, Pauline, that there should be an independent expert, because the defense actually cited its own experts and its own defense reports. That's why the prosecution has been emphasizing that there should be a prosecution expert as well as a court-appointed expert, so that there will actually be all the circumstances, all the reports made available to the pretrial chamber so it can give its informed decision on the matter.
And this statement by his daughter, Kitty Duterte, saying he's strong for an 80-year-old, can that be taken into account?
Well, I think so, because although she is not a medical expert, that's actually a statement by no less than a family member of Mr. Duterte. Therefore, it's also important to show all of the factual circumstances. Kailangan ilatag na lahat sa pretrial chamber para alam ng pretrial chamber kung ano ba talaga ang kondisyon ni Mr. Duterte.
Have there been any precedents before the ICC with, similar cases?
Actually, says there has been numerous, a number of applications by the accused who question their fitness to stand trial, But in all of these cases, in the ICC jurisprudence, the ICC has not yet granted unfitness to stand trial. Talagang na-deny lahat ng mga...
So wala po talaga? Wala pong desisyon na katulad yung hinihingi nilang binigay na indefinite postponement?
Wala pa pong desisyon na indefinite postponement. Opo. Kaya po actually, to be clear, a pretrial chamber did not agree with that indefinite postponement. This is just a limited period of postponement.
Would you be familiar with some specific cases that you can cite to us?
Well, there's there's the Ongwen case. It's one of the cited cases. But based on the determination of the chamber, I think it's the trial chamber, hindi naman nag-agree with the defense, Meron din yung recent yung sa Al Hassan case, po at hindi naman nag-agree yung chamber. At just for context, actually there's also a legal issue here because in fact there's a dissenting opinion
Yes.
by one of the
Correct.
It was actually sabi ng dissenting opinion, fitness to stand trial means to say there's a trial. It went to trial. Oo, which means that it should be determined by the trial chamber. But now, this is not yet trial, this is merely pre-trial. Therefore, it's not within the ambit of the pre-trial chamber. That's in the dissenting opinion, which I'm just quoting.
What about the lawyers of the victims? What can you do in this particular case? Can you
Actually,
present your own motions?
Actually, as of now, it's really through the OPCV, Office of the Public Counsel for Victims, kasi there's not yet technically an appointed legal representative for victims. That process is still ongoing. But we want, as lawyers for the victims, we want to actually show and to convey the views and concerns of the victims. Number one, they're actually deeply frustrated and disappointed that there was a postponement because they're also an intrinsic part of this process because there's also under international law the victim's right to justice as well as the right to access to the truth. Second, they want to show that there are actually previous statements by Mr. Duterte and even by his family members that's actually in good health, that he can actually stand the rigor of trial. In fact, in the congressional hearings, Mr. Duterte did some performative politics na handa-handa po siya na talagang i-face yung ICC proceed.
All right, we lost your audio, attorney. Nako.
Pauline?
There you
Ayan.
go.
Go ahead.
In fact, there has been some statements by Mr. Duterte and his family members that he will stand trial, that he's fit, and he's a strong person, even though 80 po siya. And we'd like to cite all of these statements to give the pretrial chamber all of the factual circumstances needed.
Attorney, what do you make of this move by the defense asking for an indefinite postponement? Because if you are the accused, you would want a speedy trial if you are saying that you want to clear your name and you want to be freed of this, you want your freedom. So ano pong tingin ninyo, anong analysis ninyo dito sa move na ito?
Well, unfortunately, it results in prolonged delay in these proceedings. And it actually halts the second step for attaining justice, which is the confirmation of charges. And what we think on the victim's part is that this is really a strategy by the defense so that it will not continue on to confirmation of charges. Because, in fact, if you look at the defense adjournment request, it only wants its own defense report to be the basis and nothing else. That's why the prosecution is insisting that a prosecution expert witness as well as an independent expert appointed by the pretrial chamber itself.
So this will be a battery of tests. Are you saying, for instance, kung MRI man yun or kung anong procedure, dalawa, he'll have to undergo 2 of these medical tests?
Well, pwede namang isang medical test lang tapos titingnan ng prosecution expert witness as well as the pretrial chamber appointed witness. Also, the prosecution actually emphasized that the expert witness of the pretrial chamber should not just be a medical expert but should have the legal forensic knowledge. Kasi remember, fitness to stand trial, that's actually, it's not a medical term, it's actually a legal term. And the expert witness of the pretrial chamber should be able to determine ano ba ang kakayanan ng isang tao para po mag-undergo ng isang trial before the ICC. So dapat may ganun pong kaalaman. And gusto rin pong i-add ng prosecution na pwedeng mag-make ng recommendations yung ICC appointed expert witness. Pwede po siyang mag-make ng recommendations para po anong pwedeng gawin para si Mr. Duterte ay talagang maka-attend po at maka-participate sa confirmation. charges.
Attorney, gaano ba ka-importante ang fitness to stand trial when you're talking about evidence already that is very strong and that could really implicate the accused? Kasi let's say, andyan na yung ebidensya, but you have the accused just saying, I don't remember that. How does that work?
Okay, 2 points, Pauline. Number one, fitness to stand trial actually presupposes that this proceeded to trial. Kaya nga, fitness to stand trial. Pero yun nga, sabi nga sa dissenting opinion, hindi pa po ito trial proper. This is still pre-trial. Number two, with respect to the defense, they stated already in their submissions that they will not present any witnesses during the confirmation of charges. So actually irrelevant whether or not Mr. Duterte can be presented as a witness by the defense because they will not actually present any witnesses during the confirmation of charges.
And at the same time, Attorney, you have Mr. Duterte's legal counsel, si Attorney Kaufman nga, no, urging President Bongbong Marcos for Mr. Duterte to return to the Philippines. He even said that the defense sincerely hopes the current administration will afford the former president a fair trial in the country of his birth and now let him return home to face whatever judicial process is necessary. Ang tanong ko, Attorney, is it up to President Bongbong Marcos for Mr. Duterte to come back to the Philippines? Hindi ba sa ICC yun?
Well, you're right in that sense, Paulina, no? Because Mr. Duterte is under the legal custody of the ICC. Therefore, it has to be the ICC that should also grant that. It takes two to tango, no? It's also dependent on the Philippines through the President Bongbong Marcos, whether or not he wants Mr. Duterte to come back to the Philippines. So, since it involves ICC and the Philippine state, it takes two to tango. But I think that's already out of the question because the Philippines actually voluntarily surrendered Mr. Duterte to the ICC in connection with Republic Act 9851, our own IHL Act.
Finally, Attorney, could I be getting ahead of the story? I mean, you know, the political winds may change by 2028. Is that what they're looking at? And can the next administration undo what this administration has done by surrendering the former president to the jurisdiction of the ICC?
Okay, this is really speculation, ano? So
I
will
know.
give also hypothetical
Yes.
answer, no? As to whether or not 2028 will affect this. Remember, the ICC is not a political institution, it's a judicial institution. Therefore, it will only determine its decisions based on the evidence and the law and the facts. So I don't think any changes in the political winds in the Philippines should affect the proceedings before the ICC with respect to Mr. Duterte.
All right, we thank you for joining us, ICC accredited lawyer, Attorney Gilbert Andres.
Now back here at home, we have images of students walking out of classrooms and other groups converging in the streets. This was today's Black Friday protest condemning the alleged corruption in flood control projects. Students from the University of the Philippines from the Diliman and Manila campuses led the mass walkout. In Quezon City, around 3,000 UP students, according to the university paper Philippine Collegian, joined the protest. They were wearing costumes and placards depicting officials implicated in the controversy. Construction of several UP Diliman buildings have also suffered from the controversy.
8 years na po yata na hindi natatayo, hindi binubuksan, ay dahil under din siya sa mga diskaya, under din siya sa DPWH. Doon po bad trip ang mga scholar ng bayan dahil patuloy pong kinukupot yung mga batayang serbisyo sa edukasyon.
Meanwhile, around 100 rallyists also staged a protest in front of the Senate building in Pasay City. They posted a tarpaulin, featuring images of Senators Jinggoy Estrada and Joel Villanueva and threw eggs at it. Estrada and Villanueva have been accused by embattled DPWH officials of taking cuts from flood control contracts. Rallies were also held in several provinces. In Leyte, students from UP Tacloban also walked out of their classes this afternoon. Progressive groups from Cebu also staged rallies in the city calling for justice, transparency, and accountability in flood control investigations.
Meantime, the DPWH is about to fire engineers Bryce Hernandez and JP Mendoza. The two have been tagged as among the Bulacan Group of Contractors, or BGC Boys. Secretary Vince Dizon confirmed dismissal orders have been prepared for the former Assistant District Engineer and former Construction Section Chief of DPWH Bulacan District 1. Earlier, their alleged principal, former Bulacan 1st District Engineer Henry Alcantara, already got the boot. On Thursday, Dizon himself filed graft and malversation charges against them at the Ombudsman. He said the department is also preparing a fresh batch of complaints to be filed on September 18, this time against employees and contractors who connived in substandard projects in Oriental Mindoro. Here, Dizon said they confirmed DPWH did not coordinate with the local government and the projects do not even have building permits.
Masyado pong madami. Wala po kaming tao. Hindi po namin ma-check. Sinabi yan ni Alcantara nung kinausap ng mga tao natin si Regional Director Pakanan ng Oriental Mindoro. Hindi ka pwede magpatayo ng kahit ano, kahit na government project pa yan, kung wala kang building permit. Bawal yun. Illegal yun. Doon pa lang pwede ka nang makulong eh.
Meanwhile, the BGC boys were a no-show at today's hearing at the Land Transportation Office. This is in connection to their usage of fake driver's licenses to enter casinos. Alcantara had a lawyer, though, who said the license was just given to him. Here's the LTO's answer.
Patunayan mo yan, and we will give him all the opportunity to do so by naming the person kung sino nagbigay sa kanya. Para mapatawag rin namin yung taong yun, para magbigay patunay.
The LTO will schedule another hearing next week before deciding on the case. Meanwhile, Senator Joel Villanueva spoke in defense of a viral photo dated November 24, 2021, showing him with Alcantara in a speedboat. According to Villanueva, it's an official event where they happen to be both invited.
We're going to take a quick break, but coming up, Vice President Sara Duterte and her officials were a no-show in today's budget hearings at the House of Representatives. Where could they be? That story and more when the big story returns. Keep it here on One News.
Today's session, Committee Vice Chair Jose Alvarez confirmed the OVP had written the panel, saying Assistant Secretary Lemuel Ortionio would attend Friday's deliberations. Alvarez, however, explained that agencies must send either their head, that's Vice President Sara Duterte, or an undersecretary level official, consistent with the lower chamber's tradition. With that, the OVP budget hearing has been rescheduled to September 16. Duterte has confirmed her attendance to that one.
Consistent with the tradition of the House na dapat head of agency or the very least using ang pumunta dito to defend the budget. I was assured that the Vice President will be present herself on Tuesday.
Meanwhile, the House Minority Bloc assured the OVP that they will be given parliamentary courtesy once their budget is heard. But the Makabayan Bloc swiftly slammed that move.
Dapat ibasura na ang tradisyon na yan. No? Kaya kailangan po, ang norm dapat ay palaging magpapaliwanag at handang magpaliwanag ang mga opisyal, ang sino mang opisyal ng gobyerno na pinagkakatiwalaan ng pondo ng taong bayan. Ako po ay naglalabas na ng hamon sa Vice Presidente mismo. That courtesy can always be extended by this committee, but it can always be waived by the official itself. So ang hamon ko po sa Vice Presidente at sa lahat ng mga opisyal pa na binibigyan ng parliamentary courtesy, i-waive nyo po yan at sagutin nyo ang mga tanong. Sa kaso ng Vice Presidente, sagutin niya ang tanong, sino si Mary Grace Piatos? Ano ang nangyari sa confidential funds?
The tradition of granting parliamentary courtesy is one of the cherished and hallowed traditions of this House to strengthen the camaraderie, to strengthen the institution, the coordination between the institutions. It does not mean that we have compromised accountability, transparency, because all questions can still be answered at the plenary.
Now, in other news, the Office of the Ombudsman has dismissed the cases filed against Justice Secretary Boying Remulla and several others. That's over the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte and his transfer to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. Among the complaints were arbitrary detention, grave threats, and usurpation of authority against Remulla, former PNP Chief Nicolas Torre III, former PNP Chief Romel Marbil, DILG Secretary John Vic Remulla, Special Envoy on Transnational Crimes Ambassador Marcos Lacanilao, DOJ Prosecutor General Richard Fadullon, and DOJ Undersecretary Nicolas Felix T. Senator Amy Marcos, who chairs the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, recommended to the Ombudsman the filing of charges against the officials for the arrest and transfer of Duterte, allegedly without due process. In a statement, Senator Marcos said she had filed a motion for reconsideration. She also insisted that under the Ombudsman's rules, an MR may be filed within 5 days from notice of the decision, so hers was clearly filed on time. The presidential sister further said, quote, "Therefore, Secretary Boying Remulla still has a pending case before the Office of the Ombudsman. Any Ombudsman clearance to the contrary is simply untruthful, and the people who will issue such a clearance are complicit in this deception." This is in connection to Remulla's application for Ombudsman, which is in danger of being nullified if he has a pending case in any court. Remulla has yet to comment on the issue.
It's been an eventful week, and helping us to make sense of it all, from the Senate coup to flood control hearings, is One News's resident political pundit / heckler, Ronald Llamas. Welcome back to The Big Story, Ronald.
Hi.
Okay, saan ba tayo mag-uumpisa sa Senate?
Good evening, Ses. Good evening, Ses, Pauline.
Yeah. Saan ba tayo mag-uumpisa? Sa Senate shake-up muna. Ano ang implication nito in the events that will still unfold in the coming weeks?
Well, bago nangyari itong bagong Senate leadership, yung Senate as an institution ay in deep crisis. dahil yung Senate President himself ay nadawit dito sa controversy na ito. Di ba? Yung kanyang, one of the top 15 big contractors na nilabas ng Presidente, isa pala ron, funder niya. At yung mga projects pala nung contractor na yon ay bilyon-bilyon yung napunta sa kanyang probinsya, sa Sorsogon. So, at yung iba pang mga senador, napapasok din sa similar na controversy. Kaya nung nagbago yung liderato, bagaman very thin yung margin ng pagkapanalo nila, ay medyo parang may kaunting confidence yung mga tao ngayon dun sa Senate as an institution. Lalo na napalitan yung yung head ng Blue Ribbon na parang ayaw dalhin yung investigasyon dun sa previous government. Ang gusto lang ay yung kasalukuyang gobyerno. So may mga signs, may mga good signs naman itong Senate at this point, no? After nitong change of leadership.
Mabanggit ko lang, because sinabi mo na nga na nadawit ang dating Senate President Chis Escudero, can the COMELEC, motopropyo, file a case? Because sinabi na mismo yan ng chairman na it's an election violation, at least the contribution to his campaign.
Mukhang ginagawa na nila, pinatawag na nila si Lubiano to a hearing, no? Mukhang doon papunta. Dahil nga promisa yan ni COMELEC Chair Garcia. Hindi ko lang alam kung ano technically na, kung nasa ang status na sila. Mukhang motopropyo on their own, ginagawa naman nila.
Okay. Dumako naman tayo sa brewing house coup. Mukhang matindi ang hawak sa posisyon ni Speaker Romualdez, or is that can he be challenged?
Well, iba kasi sa Senate. Sa Senate kasi with 13 senators, pwede ka na magbago ng leadership. In this case, 15. Diba? Sa House, mas komplikado. Dahil 350 plus yung congressmen. So kailangan mo lang at least mga 180, no? 100 plus, no? At sa Kongreso, meron kang limang partido na bumubuo doon sa ruling party, hindi lamang sa Kongreso, kundi ng gobyerno. Kaya hindi ganun kadali. Ikalawa, kinakailangan mo ng somebody strong enough to control or hold that more than 350 congressmen. Huwag mong kalimutan, dyan nagsisimula sa Congress ang impeachment. At saka si Vice President Sara, tinetreaten si BBM ng impeachment bago matapos yung kanyang term. So whoever is the Speaker of Congress ay kinakailangan ng Presidente na total yung loyalty sa kanya at saka strong enough to control Congress. No? Ang problema ni BBM ay parang napupunta sa isang political controversy yung leaders ng House at nagiging political baggage sa kanya. So, may balancing act siya. Very delicate balancing act. Paano niya gagawin yung kanyang anti-corruption campaign na sinimulan niya nung previous SONA? At the same time, ay hindi mawawala yung kanyang control sa House kung saan pwedeng magsimula ang isang impeachment against him. So, yun yung medyo naiiba sa dynamics o politics ng House kumpara sa Senado.
Okay, but Ronald, ang itong leadership...
Ang alam ko nga, Seth, may 2 attempts para baguhin yung leadership ng Congress this past few days. Pero yung attempts na yan, hindi nag-prosper dahil they didn't have the numbers.
So would you say it's dead in the water already? Kasi nabanggit mo nga, Ronald, nung Wednesday, sobrang lakas talaga ng ugong na magkaka-leadership change din sa House of Representatives.
Tingin ko hindi naman. Ang sinasabi ko lang, for now ay hindi siya nangyayari. Hindi natin alam next week, hindi natin alam next month, no? Kung ano yung mangyayari, lalo na nagbuo ngayon ng bagong independent body, di ba? Para dito sa mga infrastructure at saka flood control. Hindi pa na-announce kung sino ang uupo at saka ano ba talaga yung initially gagawin nila. So, kung yung investigating body na yan ay talagang magkakaroon ng investigasyon sa Kongreso at may implicate yung House leadership, baka magbago yung climate. Baka magbago yung alignment to alignment. Lalo na kung makikialam yung presidente.
Is Representative Toby Chanco can he get the numbers?
Again, Ses?
Kaya ba niyang kunin yung mga numero para, sabi mo, mga 180 para ma-challenge
I think so.
si Speaker
I think the
Romuald?
president with all his powers can do that. Ang isa ring issue diyan, sino ba yung papalit? Paano for now, parang yung mga lumalabas na posibleng pumalit ay hindi ganoon ka-strong. At least sa tingin ng ibang mga congressmen. No? So, hindi lang ito usapin ng numbers. Usapin ito, sino ba yung ipapalit? No? Kaya, yun siguro. Ang alam ko sa ngayon, ang nagtutulak ay si Toby Chanco na maging alternative kay Speaker Martin Romualdez. Mukhang si Albi Benitez ay unlike nung previous SONA na naghahabol siya, mukhang ngayon si Toby ang tinutulak. But mukhang kulang siya sa numero.
Is there a possibility, Ronald, that the presidential son could be Speaker of the House, si Congressman Sandro Marcos?
That is always a possibility, pero hindi maganda ang optics. Kaya I doubt kung itutulak nila yon. No?
Now
Hindi maganda na yun ang magiging image at saka narrative.
Sabi mo nakasalalay ito sa Independent Commission. Kailangan may political will itong Independent Commission, yung mga maa-appoint dyan para talagang credible ang maging resulta ng kanilang investigasyon.
Yes. Tama.
Pero parang walang gusto. Nobody wants the challenge, it seems.
Credible with enough powers to do that. Tingin ko meron naman na mga gustong tumulong para linisin yung ating gobyerno. Tingin ko meron.
Will the president also be able to have the will? Will he have the will to, kasi posibleng tamaan ng pinsan niya based on allegations na lumalabas. Kaya
Wala
niya.
siyang choice eh. Says wala siyang choice dahil binuksan niya yung Pandora's box eh. Hindi na niya pwedeng isole dun sa box yung mga pinakawalan eh. Diba yun ang the legend of the Pandora's box.
Right.
Pag binuksan mo na, hindi mo na maisole. No? So kailangan dalhin na niya ito sa logical conclusion. Or else, sasabog ito sa mukha niya.
Okay.
Ang habol na rito ay yung kanyang saging approval ratings ay tumaas. No? At saka yung kanyang legacy ay hindi maitali doon sa unpopularity na wala siyang nagawa nung siya ay presidente para linisin yung gobyerno. Tingin ko lahat ay tinatali niya ngayon dyan.
Tama. Pero siguro naman tansyado na niya ito bago siya nagbitiw ng salita doon sa kanyang SONA. Tama?
I'm not too sure. No? I'm not too sure na naplansya na niya saan niya ito gustong dalhin. Perhaps, nagising siya isang umaga, galit siya, no? Ayaw niya yung nangyayari, at ayaw niya na masira sa kanyang mga mamamayan. Perhaps, yun yung pinanggalingan ng kanyang motibo. Pero hindi ganun kaklaro ano pa yung strategy at saan dadalhin. Mukhang ginagawa niya yon habang inilulunsad niya itong kampanya. Kumbaga, hindi siya planchado from the very start. No? Duda ako kung yan ay naplansya niya from the very start.
It's taking a life of its own na kasi.
Correct. Tama. At kung makikita mo, kung hindi niya ito dadalhin sa logical conclusion ito, which is cleaning government, nakikita mo naman yung nangyayari ngayon. Yung outrage, yung disenchantment, yung disillusionment, yung weakening ng mga institusyon. Nakikita mo na, nagsisimula ng yung dating outrage sa social media, pumupunta na sa kalsada. No? Ngayon lang yata nagkaroon uli ng ganyang kalaking rally sa UP. Sa Bulacan, magkakaroon sila ng yung mga usually fun run, gagamitin na nilang anti-corruption run. Ito yung mga hindi political groups. Ito yung mga groups na nagzuzumba lang. Pati sila galit. No? So, all over the place, inaanak yung mga protesta. Hindi pa ganun kalaki, hindi pa ganun karami, pero nagsisimulang lumaki. Kaya kung
Ronald,
iyan ay hindi gagawa ng solusyon, delikado.
wag mong maliitin ang mga nagsusumba.
Hindi, natawa lang ako dahil nabalitaan ko, mga Zumba group sa Bulacan, ngayon ay mag-anti-corruption fund run. No? Hindi yan mga political, hindi yan mga aktivista. Lang, yung mga community groups lang, pero galit. So maraming ganyan all over the place. No? Kaya baka makita ko na kayo, Ses, na sumasama dyan sa mga fund run na yan.
Hindi pa ako marunong mag-zumba pero pwede namang sumubok. Teka, panghuli na lang. Because it seems to be in synchronicity with what's happening around the world. We're seeing people protesting corruption in government in other places.
Yes, no? Halimbawa, just today, ang bagong dagdag, Belgrade. Sa Belgrade, yung mga kabataan lumalabas sa kalsada ngayon. So nagkakaroon, dumadami. Sa Indonesia, no, yung kanilang protesta do sa pag-increase ng mga benefits ng kanilang mga members of parliament.
Right.
Biglang nagalit sila at nag-trigger nung may namatay na Grab driver, no? At dumami na at nagkagulo na. Ganon din sa Nepal. Ang nag-trigger is a speech by a student leader. Tapos nung tinanggal yung social media, ayun na. Nagdagsana sa kalsada yung mga tao at nagkaroon na ng patakayan at bumagsak yung gobyerno. So, tingin ko yung mga Pinoy naman hindi pa naman ganun ka-violent. Pero meron tayong naging several uprising sa ating kasaysayan. May nag-succeed, may nag-fail. Pero ibig sabihin, hindi tayo immune sa mga ganyang klaseng uprising. Nakita rin natin noong panahon ni Napoles, yung 1 million people march. Diba? Kaya nakulong ang 3 senador, including a former Senate President, at naipagbawal ang pork barrel. Ang problema, yung pinagbawal na pork barrel, naging flood control. No? Pero ibig sabihin, may ganyang klaseng explosion sa ating kasaysayan. At ngayon, tingin ko nandun tayo on the verge of another explosion.
With that, we thank you. One News political pundit, Ronald Llamas.
All right, now from politics to sports, at this point, we bring you to the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay City, where Alas Pilipinas is set to face 11-time champion Tunisia. Mobile journalist Denise Valdez-Sancho is there to give us updates about the historic battle at the FIVB World Championship. Hi, Denise. How's the match going on? Ongoing now with our national team.
Yes, as we speak, thousands of volleyball fans are now witnessing this historic face-off between Alas Pilipinas and world number 43, Tunisia. First set, we had 13-25. Second set, 17-25, all in favor of Team Tunisia. But right now, it seems like Alas Pilipinas has a better outing. It's yet to see if this will go until fourth set. But prior to that, let's take a look back. The tourney was opened with performances by Filipino girl group G22. We have Karen Sita and, of course, the much anticipated K-pop group Boy Next Door. The president was also present, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr., accompanied by his wife to lead the ceremonial serve. We also have PSC Chairman Patrick Gregorio, FIVB President Fabio Azevedo, and POC Chairman Bambo Tolentino present here to witness the match. And in the welcoming remarks of PSC Chair Pato Gregorio, he highlighted here that this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity of the country to host the event underscores sports tourism, that sports is merely not just for entertainment, more so it gives space for building community and showcasing the Philippines on a global stage. And we are witnessing that here right now in an interview I had with PSC Chairman and Sir Tatsu Sara. He mentioned we are expecting about 9,000 spectators, and unti-unti nang napupuno at mas napupuno pa yung Mall of Asia Arena right now. So aside from Team Tunisia, we will also see Alas Pilipinas battle out Pool A teams, world number 2, Team Iran, world number 13, rather, Team Iran, and world number 23, Egypt. That is next week for the pool phase of the tournament, ladies.
Right, so if you don't have plans yet this weekend and for the rest of the week, they can catch those games. But for now, thank you very much for that update. That was mobile journalist Denise Valdez-Sancho reporting to us live from the Mall of Asia Arena.
We'll be pausing for another breather, but after that, we speak to the convener of a group called Content Creators Against Corruption, which just emerged amid flood control investigations. Stay tuned to the big story. Welcome back to the big story. Several Filipino vloggers and influencers have formed a group called Content Creators Against Corruption. In their manifesto, the group pledged to use their platforms to expose wrongdoing, support whistleblowers, and push for public access to information on government spending. They also vowed to uphold integrity, refuse complicity, and amplify trust, transparency, and accountability in both their content and communities. And we now talk to Carlo Ople, lead convener of Content Creators Against Corruption. Good evening, Carlo. Welcome to the big story.
Hi, good evening. Thanks for having me. Super excited to be with you guys tonight.
Yeah, tell us how you were formed. Parang serendipitous lang ang nangyari ba?
Actually, nung lumabas yung picture says nung lamesa na may sobrang daming pera, a lot of content creators were actually messaging each other, talking about how it was so gut-wrenching and heartbreaking. And mula dun sa pagkakausap, na dun nagkaroon na idea na baka it's time we come together and band together. Kasi one thing that creators are afraid of is kasi for their safety. Pag nagsalita sila against corruption, kinakabahan sila. So ang sinabi ko sa kanila, pagsama-sama tayo, unang-una sa lahat, mas malakas boses natin, tapos pagsama-sama tayo, we're safer together. So doon na nabuo siya. So doon na namin siya nabuo together, yung Creators Against Corruption.
So what are your objectives, aside from, I suppose, exposing wrongdoing? Also, you know, a concern is how do you police your own ranks? Because we've seen also how social media can be abused or be used irresponsibly.
Yeah, so we have a manifesto that talks about how we want to hold those in power to account, something that a lot of journalists, I'm sure, are very familiar with, no? But going beyond that, one of our objectives also is to train like the next generation of anti-corruption creators and to equip them with the proper tools and capabilities so that they can be successful creators on their own. So just to give you an idea, di ba yung pinaka-issue na to lumabas sa dalawang lugar, Hagonoy at Pasig. So later this month, we will have a creator caravan in Hagonoy kung saan yung mga aspiring creators at Hagonoy creators, ite-train namin on different things. We're partnering with an organization for fact-checking. Meron kaming training for them on how to use Twitter or how to use TikTok effectively. So kumbaga, it's going beyond just making noise, but also planting seeds and laying the foundation so that future generations of creators will also be, kumbaga, will have the right values and skills so that they can address corruption head-on later.
You know what's really nice, Carlo, is that netizens are also very smart. They now expect a lot from these
Exactly.
content creators, right? They say, use your platform wisely. When someone is silent, parang they criticize them, right? And they say to speak up on these issues. But right now, I'm curious, how many members do you have in CAC?
Well, when we launched yesterday, we had 20, those who initially signed. The moment it was announced, we had over 100 plus messages on our Facebook page, probably 50 more messages on my personal account. So we've just been flooded with interest from content creators ranging, and siguro this is to echo yung sinabi ni Ronald kanina, says the creators we're getting are not political creators. As in, we're getting interest from creators who are doing like horror content on TikTok. Creators are doing food reviews on their Facebook pages. We're getting I recently did. I was talking to a creator who was into dance. Parang yung Zumba na sinasabi kanina. As in talagang it's from the entire spectrum of the internet, which I think shows the breadth of disgust talaga and buwisit dito sa nangyayari sa atin na kumbaga there's no more room there's no more time. We cannot fence it. We cannot stay idly by. We have to use our platforms really to try to contribute into this national discussion on how to end corruption.
Yeah, and it's good that you're channeling this anger towards something productive, something that can actually lead to change. And hopefully it carries also into elections because really, it's who we vote for. I mean, we're responsible. Binoto natin tong mga taong to, hindi ba?
Correct. And you know what's interesting lang? So, di ba dun sa lunch namin, so yung first thing na sinabi ko is dito, walang pink, walang dilaw, walang Duterte. Dito, against corruption tayong lahat. Kasi pag titingnan mo yung mga kwarto, nung nag-quick survey ako, sino dito mga maka-administrasyon, yung mga nagtaas ng kamay. Tapos kumbaga dinaanan ko lahat ng mga different sides. Tapos lahat sila, they were all in the same room, kumbaga against corruption, so, which is nice. And hopefully we get to continue that through voter education and campaigns like that, using these creators and using their platforms.
Well, as you mentioned, Carlo, it's also very important that you use social media responsibly. And how will you handle content creators who, you know, let's face it, are some peddlers of fake news?
Well, dun sa manifesto namin, it says na we will try to uphold integrity as much as possible. But given the sheer volume of people who want to be part of the movement, I think it will be very difficult to police every single one, but we will try our best. I think the best effort talaga that we can do, lalong-lalo na in our future activities, is to train and to equip as many creators as possible. Kasi that's what's sorely needed right now talaga. And then when I say train, it's not just teaching them how to be big on TikTok or how to be big on Facebook and Instagram. We have an entire program that talks about integrity, that talks about values, and hopefully those cut through. And we're able to shape not just their minds, but also their hearts, no, pagdating sa pagiging content creator.
And right now, do you already have ideas on what kind of content you guys are planning to make?
Malilikot ang utak ng mga to, for sure.
There are trends, right? Yung parang rich in life because I funded my own vacation, something like that. And it talks about the corruption as well, right?
Yes, there's a lot of talk on different kinds of collaborations, ranging from joint podcasts to collab content to make things funny, to make it more kumbaga viral. I just want to echo one sentiment. No? So I was recently a speaker dun sa Public Relations Congress of the Philippines. I think it happened yesterday or 2 days ago. Tapos ang sinabi nila, yung pinakamalakas na nangyayari is when you have a young creator who knows how to speak the language of digital and someone who has the wisdom and experience of being either a veteran communications professional or a PR professional. Kasi pag nagsama yung dalawang yun, you get sharpened messages and effective reach. And yun yung gusto natin makuha talaga dito, is we want to meld the power of both para we really make meaningful change.
Ilan kayang milyones ang followers pag pinagsama-sama itong miyembro ng grupo nyo?
Doon pa lang sa initial 20 cents, I think mga over parang mga over 20 million.
Wow.
Ang dami talaga. Kasi medyo madami talaga. Pero to be honest, follower count is not the most important thing these days. It's really the quality of your content kasi the algorithms will reward you if your content is good. Kumbaga vanity number na lang ang follower count ngayon.
So, but will you carry your movement also to protest actions on the street or puro social media lamang?
We have several members who want to participate in the different protests. I have a vision on how to do it, like working with the organizers so that we have a content creator section. Pero I don't know if we can pull it off in time for the 21st, no? But definitely we want to participate as well. We have a lot of interest from the creators who want to join the one in EDSA, I think, happening on the 21st. Doon ko sa tingin marami kaming pupunta. And hopefully we get to be a bigger part of that kasi we get to amplify the message. Kasi sabihin natin you have, I don't know how many will go, 50,000, palagi mo na, 40, 30, 20. But if we, all the creators on that day amplify that message, then we get to reach millions. So that's also why they need to be boots on the ground. Hindi pwedeng kumbaga nasa social media lang at nag-share.
Right. But In the end, ano ba ang common goal ninyo? Na may managot, may makasuhan, ano ba, merong bang
Ay,
ganun?
lahat.
Lahat.
Lahat may makasuhan, may managot, may makulong. Pero at the same time, more importantly, and I think this is the one where I am personally focused on, it's really empowering that next generation of creators. Kasi that's where we need to really focus on it. I mean, we can focus on the now, but the now is fleeting. The now can be gone like in the next few months. But what I personally, ako being, having been in the industry for a while in digital, I really want to make an impression on the next generation. Grabe sa Hagunoy says, may grupo doon ng mga bata, high school to college, na magaling na mag-TikTok, na gusto talaga tumulong na pagandahin yung image ng Hagunoy, na hindi lang palaging binabaha. Diba yun yung mga gusto natin tutukan din, diba, as an organization, to really empower them. And I think, while all of this is good, the exposing the corruption, and definitely will go after that, ako personally, one of my personal missions talaga is to uplift and leverage and empower the next generation of creators to have the right values and to have the right skills.
Great. Nangunguna ka nga lagi, Carlos. Sa'yo ko natutunan yung unbox. Ikaw ang unang mga nag-unbox ng mga kung ano-ano. Until it became... And, well, now a Pandora's box has been unboxed. Thank you. Thank you, Carlo Ople of Creators Against Corruption.
All right, and wow, what an eventful week.
I
no?
know. Wow, what can happen in just a few days?
Welcome back, by the way.
Thank you. I needed to recharge. No, so that's a big story this week. Thank you for watching. I should say welcome back to you as well.
Yeah, the
Last
Philippines
Monday.
said welcome back last Monday. We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here Monday at 7:30. Have a great weekend, everyone.
All right, now do stay tuned because coming up next is Play-by-Play with Cheska Litan-Calao and Jot Sulit. Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday. And also, welcome back to Ses.
Thank you.
We welcomed
Thank
Pawi back a few
you.
days ago. But now, my co-host tonight is
It's
Jot
gone again.
because my real co-host, my nightly co-host is running fast and running far somewhere out there.
And running again.
I know. Is that addictive?
Apparently.
Wow.
Maybe he's just trying to run away from all the problems here in the Philippines. Okay yun.
But yeah, I think he'll be back on Monday naman, correct?
He will.
Okay.
He'll try.
But, yeah, Ses, first of all, how was your vacation?
You know, it's good to reset once a year.
Yep.
Yes.
And really go inward because, as you can see, how do you deal with all these evil things in the world? You have to go inward.
You have to decompress.
Very important.
Yes.
Because it really is stressful paying
Yes.
attention to everything going on.
True.
But yes, thank you so much, Ses. Thank you, Pawi.
Thank
so
you.
nice seeing you again, Ses.
Well, thank you again to the ladies of the big story. Tonight, we've got Alas Filipinas men making their debut in the FIVB Men's World Championship happening right here in Manila, plus a rundown of the tournament's lineup of games this weekend.
And we've got a preview of the Eurobasket semifinals.
I'm Jot Sulit, sitting in for Andre Felix.
And I'm Cheska Litan-Calao.
And here's tonight's play-by-play.
Ramiro, the show by Mamoy Lee. Phillips puts it on the left side.